That's a groovy button. What does it say?
Button? Who is this that's saying? What is this button saying? We don't need no stinking buttons. Just tell them Pedro what the next episode number is.
Who's got the button?
No, that's the book, man.
The Monkees book.
That's right. But who is this that's saying what episode is this?
What episode is this, man?
It's episode 6.
That's 6, man. You're right, man.
That's right.
Where's that parking lot attendant?
If you can be a Mexican bandit, I can be a Mexican parking lot attendant.
See?
And with that twist on the intro, we welcome you to episode number 6 of the Texas Prairie Chicken Home Companion Monkees podcast. And coming up later, I'm going to tease it now, part 2 of our episode with the amazing Coco Dolenz. As always, I am Al. Let's see, which bandit should I use, man? Should I use El Torco, the bandit without a nickname?
That's good, man. I'm El Dolenzio, the bandit without the conscience.
All right. We're thrilled to have you back with us with episode 6.
Episode 6 with part 2 of the interview with Coco Dolenz. You said episode 2 with Coco. I caught you.
Who is this? Who is this saying what episode, what part number is this? I don't need no stinking parts. What you talking about, man?
8, 9, doesn't matter, man.
Peter Whitney somewhere is turning over in his grave right now.
Dance window.
But yes, we are thrilled to have you with us for the Texas Prairie Chicken Home Companion Monkees podcast, episode 6, and coming up, as my esteemed colleague did say,
I'm very steamed.
Steamed. You're steamed at the moment. Is that like steamed broccoli? Part 2 of our amazing interview with Coco Dolenz. We have another topic tonight. This week we're going to discuss Pull It, continuing off of last time when we discussed that one, Then and Now. What kind of remix you got for us this time, oh pal, oh mine?
We're going to include my fabulous remix of Tapioca Tundra, the famous 1968 Monkees tune where Mike really goes all out with his Nez-isms.
You mean Tapioca Tundra? Is it that like tapioca? Okay, so Nez rambles on for what, 3.5, 4 minutes?
Well, when I'm through it, about 5 minutes, but
all
yeah.
Right. So what did you do to this one, my friend?
Oh, what didn't I do? Let's see. By this time, Rhino has given us 5 or 6 different versions of this song. We even got acoustic versions, which are here at the end of this remix. So what I did was I tried to combine a few different takes where Mike is singing in a different way. Some of these takes have Mike with a highly filtered voice.
You mean like when I do this, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadows.
Sorry, I've been wanting to do that since we started. That's one of my favorite impressions.
He's been waiting for an opening. I think it's more like this. Love to me is blue-eyed and blonde.
That's my sweet magnolia.
You gotta plug the nose on that.
Oh.
You
Gotta do the nasal thing, you know.
That and the styrofoam cup.
that's true.
So what you end up with is one vocal take in the middle, another vocal take of Mike's on the left channel, and another one in the right channel, which towards the end gets a little creepy if you're listening with headphones. And I recommend you listen to these with headphones. Extra percussion, extra bass, the usual stuff. There's a time in there where I filter in a mono version of the song, just because I like that little section of just the mono version. It sounds a little different. And just had fun with it. Just made it a one longer, wackier, more surreal experience.
More tapioca-ish, I got
I did, man. Yeah, see?
No, see, you're not listening to me. This is the Fargo. It's the way they say it up north in the Midwest. Tapioca.
Oh, yes.
Tapioca Tundra.
Ooh.
Or the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. That's mine.
Ooh, Tapioca Tundra. That's what we call February here.
That's right.
He wrote a song about us here in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Minnesota cold is rotten.
Minnesota, North Dakota, Fargo, eh? All right.
And Minnesota cold is rotten. That's a 1976 Alka-Seltzer commercial. It still haunts me to this day. So anyway, are we going to play it now?
No. No,
all this build-up.
That's a teaser. That's what they call a teaser in the business. Now,
always
remember
tease.
These things. I keep buy you the books, send you to school, you trade it for a Monkees lunchbox. What am I going to do with you?
That's pretty much what I did. So anyway, you'll hear that wonderful remix later. And
that's right.
You will live to love it.
That's right.
You will learn to love it.
That's right. Whether you like it or not. I can't do Ric Flair. That's right. So,
Woo! Woo!
But picking up where we left off last week, last time, whenever it was we did this previous episode.
It could have been as little as just hours ago.
That's true.
The magic of podcasting.
That's right, the magic of editing, thank goodness. Continuing on the topic, we talked about then and now last time, so we're going to move up a little bit and discuss...
Depending on your idea of moving up or down.
That's right. We're going to discuss the infamous or famous Pool It. So there are... This one, I like it, but I don't like it. I mean, there are... As we talked about last time...
like my relationship with Big Turk.
That's right. Big Turk.
Yes, it's kind of a...
No.
Okay.
This is
not the place to go into it.
This is a G or a PG rated podcast. Okay.
You see the bruises I've covered with the makeup.
That's right.
I'll leave it at that.
But we talked about last time how if Davey had not balked at the problems with Arista, that they might have been signed to a bigger label, which would have predicated this album never being created. Now, don't get me wrong. It has some high points. And it's got some meh points. But I'm just not sure if this was the album that the guys really needed to capitalize on 2.0 from '86. Despite the age-old how the album was named story goes. So for those of you, of course, who don't, I'm telling you something you probably already know, but as the story goes, they were swimming in they were all having together, and they were swimming and messing around and everything, and Micky, pull it! Instead of Cool It. So that's the way that the album came to be.
Now, my first inkling of this album was calling the Monkey Business Fanzine hotline. For you kids, there wasn't constant updates about this stuff that you like. No Facebook, no Twitter.
This was before smartphones, so you actually had to have a phone that had a cord that was connected.
Right. And you have to try 6 or 7 times because other fans are trying to get in. And this was a recorded message from Maggie herself, the publisher of said fanzine.
And this was back in the day when it actually cost money to dial long distance.
But I remember her announcing the album and saying the name. And she said there would be a new album called Pull It. And I, through the problems of a bad connection possibly, and of course listening to basically a cassette recording, almost like listening to
like an answering machine recording, yeah.
Through the deficiencies of such audio happenstance, I thought she said toilet. And then flash forward to when the album comes out and I've done my first listen through, and I thought it should have been called Toilet. Does that let you know where I stand, ladies and gentlemen?
Tell me how you really feel about this, partner. But, no, the album has Roger Bachirian.
Bless you.
Gesundheit. I mean, he did, with what they were working towards, he did a decent job. There are people are very galvanized on some of the songs on this, and I'm going to start with what's generally regarded as the worst one of them all, and that's She's Moving In With Rico.
Okay, you do that.
Now,
Rico man.
She's moving in with Rico. But the song is not that bad to me. I mean, it's a breakup song, that kind of thing, and it's Davey trying to be something a little bit different than Davey the Monkey. I don't have a problem with it. To me...
Jamaican Jones man.
That's right. But if you look at the... and thanks to the ability to edit, honestly, I'll level with you. I had him stop the recording for a second so I could pull up the track list because it's been so long since I've looked at the whole thing. But there are good songs on this album. Taking Away, Heart and Soul, Every Step of the Way. Don't Bring Me Down, which they featured on the Heart and Soul Nickelodeon video that they did with this shot with the restaurant with the little girl who met the Monkees.
The contest winner.
That's right.
Adrian Balmer.
That's right. Midnight, which I think is underrated. Taking the Long Way Home. To me, Counting on You is actually worse than She's Moving In With Rico. It's like the aftermath of I'll Love You Forever. It's like I've written this one. It's a good song. Let's move on. See, can I write something similar? I says, are you Dudley Moore? No, and that's when he must have had a little too much to drink when he was doing Counting on You, because it came out like Dudley Moore.
Ask the nurse; she'll tell you.
That's right. But Secret Heart is also not a bad one. But to me, the one that steals the show is Since You Went Away. It's Anti-Griselda for the 80s. I love Peter singing it. I think it's perfect for him. But to me, the album is at best a C album. There are things that they had more time to do it. I think what they should have done was they should have brought the 86 tour to an end, spent 6 to 8 weeks recording a new album, then go back on the road to support it, rather than just continuing to tour. Because at that point, I think it would have done better. But we'll never know.
Or they could have taken a page from Pisces Aquarius, where a lot of that was recorded on the road.
True.
And of course, it's not as easy now with digital.
Absolutely.
You can do that.
But I mean, they could have made arrangements to stop in different studios and have Bachirian meet him there. So, but tell me your favorite song and your worst song of the album.
Well, again, we all looked forward to it. I guess I bought the album, and where I bought it to, at a Camelot or a record bar.
That's a record store for you,
yes.
You youngins out there.
These records with these round, never mind.
They know about vinyl today because
yes,
everybody it's coming back.
It's a whole different scene, man.
Mm-hmm.
Even the clerk there mentioned a song on it, and I remember too about the same time, a few years later actually, Missing Links 2 would come out, and I remember the clerk there raving about, we finally got a stereo version of the live Circle Sky, and I'm like, no, you regular people shouldn't know about this stuff. It's just us hardcore fans. Mm-hmm. But she said, you got to hear Getting In. Getting In's the greatest thing. And of course, yes. And then I got it home, and I guess I was foolishly expecting this is the next step. This is the album that comes after Instant Replay or whatever. If we're not going to count changes or whatever. And of course, that's foolish because it's not 1969 anymore.
No.
So I listened to it, and I'm just like thinking, why didn't I just get a Mike and the Mechanics album? Or Huey Lewis or something. It's a good album. It's solid.
And see, they should have done an album more like Huey Lewis and the New Sports. They should have done a more rock and roll, but they were trying to capitalize because Bachirian's English. He's British, if I remember correct. So they were trying to go a little bit more with the Euro pop kind of thing because that was what was big at the time. And that song right there leads me to Poulett's biggest gaffe, Rhino's biggest mistake. They should have released Getting In as a dance single.
Yep.
Because you and I have always talked about this. The one thing I'm not a big fan of Peter is that he suffers from what I call Michael Stipeism. He writes a lot of songs in minor keys.
Yes.
But Getting In was the perfect synth pop dance track, and he sang it really well. I mean, to me, Rhino really dropped the ball on that. And there, again, as much as I love Rhino, and I will preach and thank Rhino for everything that they've done to us, I'd like to get Harold Bronson alone in a room for about 5 minutes and introduce him to say hello to my little friends here. Yeah, because I think he did the guys a very big disservice, and the A&R people, by not realizing this.
Yes. Anyway, I listened to the album. I know there was also then a feeling of the novelty aspect. Here's this group from a million years ago, updated. How are they going to sound? How is Davy Jones going to sound over synth bass and electronic drums? And I guess there's something to be said for that. I did like the singles. I thought those were strong singles, especially Every Step of the Way.
Mm-hmm. I think it showcased David very well.
Very well.
Now, Heart and Soul was a great song, but here's another Rhino screw up. They screwed up the timing of the release.
Oh, yes.
Because for those of you who know anything about 80s music, there was a ton of one-hit wonders during the 80s.
You Star Trek fans also are in for a treat.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't hit me until you just said that. At the same time, or that summer, there was a second song released by a group called T'Pau. Star Trek reference, go ahead.
That is Spock's mother, I think. No, that is Spock's beloved that he was supposed to marry. Where's my wife? She's the Trekkie. No. The Trekker. I'm sorry, no letters, please. The Trekker.
Yeah, no, T'Pau was Spock's betrothed in that episode. See, I knew that. But
my dentist gave me a betrothed. It went across the upper teeth. And it was great. I lost it last year somewhere.
Yep. I don't even want to know where you lost it. But Heart and Soul by T'Pau, because of the falling out with MTV.
That was another big negative.
T'Pau's version got the play. T'Pau's version showed up on radio and in heavy rotation in MTV, despite the fact that our version of Heart and Soul was a much better song.
And again, we can speak of the unfortunate occurrences of '87. One of the books I was reading about, again, said, what if They had signed with Arista. What if Davey had agreed to go along with that? Would they have gotten more visible albums with a bigger label? But here's the thing, too. By the time Rhino comes in, they're hampered by the fact that it's a few months past the New Year's Super Bowl debacle. And if you don't know about that, that's a situation that caused MTV to drop.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back with MTV. But I still don't know who to blame for that one. I don't know whether to blame Fishoff or Davey saying, MTV needs us more than we need MTV, which hindsight in 2020, David.
It was a synergistic relationship.
Yeah,
that's what my therapist tells me about me and Big Roscoe.
I think Fishoff did them a disservice by just accepting them without asking them, because that was at the end of the '87 tour. They'd been touring for 2 years nonstop, and they were worn out, and physically. So, or at least I don't need the implications that I'm seeing, or the implying thing is that Fishoff didn't tell them about it until the last minute,
right?
And they had all made plans and said, "No, we can't do this." And then Davey utters that line, and one thing leads to another. Everything lines up, and boom, that's the end of the Monkees on MTV.
And speaking of Monkey Business Fanzine, they were running. Someone from inside the MTV organization actually snuck out the print-offs of what people were calling in and demanding.
The top
Monkees stuff was at the time. They would not play that stuff.
Absolutely, and and it was just like I say, I don't know if the Manchester Cowboy was getting a little bit too big again. Ego-wise, or I think a lot of this has to fall on the shoulders of David Fishoff.
I think so, and I think it was a lot of just miscommunication.
Absolutely,
especially back in that era. So what? Let's say that didn't happen. Would the album have been, and the singles have been bigger?
I think so,
because we had that plus, like you mentioned, the other similarly named single. That was another club across the kneecaps.
That's right. If the New Year's Eve performance had gone on, there's no telling where it could have gone to, because they probably would have pushed Heart and Soul to number one because of everything. But again, it's just the way that Destiny was. It's just the route, the path that it was expected to take. But I really truly wish that Harold had pulled his head out of his rear end, or the people who understood that and realized that Getting In was the perfect dance song for that time.
Also, another thing that happened, Nickelodeon kind of stepped in at that time when MTV dropped the ball for the reasons we just mentioned. And so you could say, for good or ill, suddenly an even younger set.
It's back to the 8-year-olds.
Right. Was being wooed again. And some of these singles, we only know them, not from MTV playing them, but from Nickelodeon and all their kids shows. They had Nick Rocks, and I've still got these on tape somewhere.
Yeah, that's where Don't Bring Me Down got a lot of its push.
That contest winner, yes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So the album I thought was very good. It's a serviceable album. I really love those singles. I guess I loved every step of the way a little more because it seemed edgier, a little more rockier, I guess.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Okay, of course, I love Justice for that reason. I'm not really interested in Bubblegum.
That's next week.
Okay.
That's episode 7.
Very good.
All right.
But the stuff that's thin and bubblegum-like, I know. See, again, the problem is if you mention the Monkees to 10 different people, what they see in the Monkees are going to be 10 different things.
Absolutely, and a lot of it, the one common denominator will probably be bubblegum.
Right. But they did country.
Yeah.
They did hard rock. They did soft rock. They did ballads. They did acid rock. They did Broadway. They did.
But I give Roger Bucherian credit for trying to make a period piece for that time.
Oh, he did. It quickly dated.
They were trying to because Europop, the Britpop, was still very popular. Lots of heavy synth, and that's why Micky played that type of drum set.
From what I read too, the producer was caught between two worlds. Of course, the Monkees are hot. The label's like, come on, get us product right away to capitalize on this. The Monkees themselves wanted this super produced sound.
Yeah.
Again, we have to compete. I'm sure in their minds we're competing with today's market. We can't put out another Last Train to Clarksville. It's not 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The producer himself wanted more of a garage band rock thing. So he's caught between the Monkees, what he wants, what the label wants, pressure to get product out there.
And Chip Douglas would have done more Chuck Berry tunes.
Probably. In fact, we have an episode of Headquarters where somebody asked him about the album. He's like, well, it's like we're saying, it's good, but where are the big guitar riffs and where are those guitar bridges? And I want to hear jangly guitars. And,
see? Great minds think alike, because that's exactly where I took that from.
Yes. So it was very good. And
plug to the Monkees Hour. You can find that on the Monkees Live All Night website.
And it's interesting to think, like, 10 years later, we're going to get Justice, and there I am trying to get my local radio stations to play that. And then recently we had Good Times, which is a little different. That got a lot more interest and attention.
Well, that was because the people behind it. I mean,
true too. Plus, it's a really good album, and it's eclectic. And when those first singles started coming out, I started to worry because they were very thin and bubblegummy, and it's like let's pull it all over again. But you got those nice Nesmith songs, and you got the Peter stuff, and there is some weight in that album.
Alan will go nose to nose with Harold next podcast about Justice.
Just us. So I guess we're in agreement. Now, of course, you and I, when that album came out, I was not you and I. There's another Monkees reference. I was 21, which I felt so much older. I'm younger than that now. That's a different group, isn't it? I won't ask you your age, but obviously we weren't teens. We weren't kids.
I was 27 when it came out.
Yeah, see? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at it again like we spent all this time, in my case, having this great interest in a group that was long gone. They're back, so this better be good.
But at the time when it came out, it's new Monkees product.
Right.
That's why we went and got it.
For people that never thought we'd see anything new with the Monkees.
Right.
I remember it was a novelty back then just to hear the Monkees referred to in the present and future tense, as opposed to ex-Monkey, and the Monkees did, and the Monkees had, as opposed to the Monkees will be, which is still kind of weird getting used to that. Even today, it's kind of weird to.
Yeah.
And now I have to hear ex-Monkey and former Monkey Micky Dolenz and ex-Monkey Mike Nesmith.
As we know, the music business is completely cyclical. I mean, everything old is new again eventually. I would expect AHA to make a comeback in the next 10 years.
I was on my cyclical the other day getting some exercise in, and one of the pedals broke.
So you had to cyclical one foot.
I had to sit out the cyclical situation.
Crickets.
My cyclical situation. So I had to mention that because I see people online, and you can tell they're younger. And again, like then and now, that may have been an early introduction to the Monkees, and they're very fond of it because they were 12, and that was one of their first albums, and it's not bad for that. No. It's just as solid as anything else from the time period. But I guess I was expecting more because the guys can do more, and we knew they could do more.
Well, I also think, again, because the age-old label, we need product, we need it now, get it done. I'm sure that I'm sure that if Andrew could ever find the tapes of those sessions, I'm sure it's basically just, one take Dolenz. Davey, they had no choice. I mean, it was a situation where Rhino needed the product to push, and well, forget about the push, but we'll talk about that another time. But
I thought it was a cute poster with the poster and cover and gatefold with the pool motif and the blues and the water.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Monkees make a big splash.
Yeah, and the guys wearing those long, yeah.
We used to call them jams.
Non-speedos, the non-speedos. Put it.
Thank heavens for that.
Yeah, really.
They were called jams back then. We used to rock them with our Lester Cram glasses.
That's right. Now, so all in all, Pulett's not the worst album. Pulett's not the best album. It's right in the middle. It's right in the middle of the pack.
You say it's not the worst, but I'm kind of hard pressed. I guess that's a discussion for another time.
Well, no, all right. It's not worse than more of the Monkees' greatest hits. I'd say, all right. I'll say it's on a level with Changes.
Okay. See, the problem with all these albums is they have some horrible material, but they have some great material.
Yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to something like Pisces Aquarius, where almost every cut is great. So it's hard to compare. But yeah.
But yeah, it's not the worst album, but it's on a par with Changes. I'll go because of most of the bubblegum that's on Changes. That is the Andy Kim rejects.
See, I guess I'm looking for, for me, I think my worst would be Monkees Present. Only because, we have Nez Country, but it's not very good Nez Country.
I'll never tell a woman yes.
We've got rock, but it's, Looking for the Good Times, which doesn't really make it. And we've got...
I never thought it peculiar.
You know.
No, I see what you're saying, but it's at the time Present was
just lied there. Yeah. We got this in the vault, let's put it out. Mm-hmm. And of course it suffers, I think, from it's one of the first albums to really suffer from the lack of Peter Tork.
And it suffers from a complete blasé attitude.
Yes.
Or as was it? was in Lefkowitz's book. He said, writing the inertia down, as it were, in Nez's line.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so it's not something, I don't have any Pull-It songs on my iPod, on my car mixes. I still mix things on CD for my car.
Wait a minute.
I do like Getting In. Maybe I should bring that back out.
Yeah, wait a minute.
And Peter has included that song in subsequent years in his solo dates and with Shoe Suede Blues.
That's right.
Very durable song. Now,
It
didn't
is.
he remake it for Stranger Things? I may be mistaken.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he did do Getting In on Stranger Things.
Very good song.
Thank you for that pause for the cause, Al. While I pulled up my phone playlist here. All right, I'm going to share that this is what I have on my phone playlist.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, Man Without a Dream, All Alone in the Dark, Anytime, Any Place. No, I mean, you know,
I do. It's fun.
it's like Shake 'Em Up. You know, it's one of those fun times. Mr. Henry Diltz on clarinet. Anytime, Any Place, Anywhere. The Carlisle Wheeling version that I love off of Missing Links 1.
I don't have that because it makes me cry.
Getting In, Good Clean Fun, Heart and Soul.
Good Clean Fun. Where have I heard that song before?
You know, it's striking a chord with me, something to do with, hey, that's a groovy button. What does that say?
Maybe that's one of those things where Mike, he doesn't include the title in the actual song.
Yep.
So.
Heart and Soul, I Don't Think You Know Me, which is also Missing Links. I Love You Better, which is the lousier of the two singles. The B-side, I'm a Retriever. If I Ever Get Saginaw, which is also It's Got to Be Love. It's Nice to Be With You, but I like the live version better. I have to find the right live version. Kicks, the little girl with that's the Peter version from Good Times. I've Got Long Way Home, MGBGT Live, Midnight Train, Mommy and Daddy, the clean version.
See, now I do have that on my iPod, but it's the...
Would you rather that the bullet went through my head?
Right.
Oh My, Oh What a Night, Pillow Time, which I love. I love the guitar work on Pillow Time. That's just it speaks of Louis Shelton. I don't think it's Louis, but it speaks of Louis Shelton.
Same with Midnight Train.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's the reason. That rather than the Headquarters version, because I kick your head from here to hell. Better know I can do it well. Pleasant Valley Sunday, Regional Girl, which I will have a complete rant on next time. Since You Went Away, Stepping Stone, the original slow version of Teardrop City. That was then. I actually have Whole Wide World, Papa Jean's Blues, and What Am I Doing Hanging Around?
My word. It would take me a whole podcast to go through the Monkees material on my iPod.
Well, I still have to add stuff to it, but when you go about the way I do it, it takes a little while, a little time consuming.
I've seen you with like a screwdriver trying to get the songs off a CD, like scrape them
off,
and put them on your phone. I'm like, no, Alan, that's not how it works.
No, or try to scratch the grooves into the CD like an LP.
I've seen you play them on the record player.
That's right.
Don't work that way. They don't work that way. So, have we said all we need to say about?
I think we have pooled it. I think we've pooled it enough on this one. So, tune in again next time when we tackle Just Us. Hi again, everybody. It's the Real Don Steele, 96 KHJ, leading into another one of Al Bigley's great remixes. Al, what have you got for us this time?
Thank you, Don. This is my remix of Tapioca Tundra. As mentioned earlier, stronger, better, faster. No, actually, it's been lengthened, more bass. There are periods where it goes into a mono mix. You'll hear more mic than you ever wanted to hear before. Put on your headphones and hear them in each one of your stereo channels.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Is there more cowbell?
I think there is more cowbell. More percussion, more drum rolls, more of a calypso feel to the song overall. You even hear a little bit of Mike's acoustic run-through at the end in an eerie fade in the song to bring us all back down to earth.
And it's funny that you should mention Mike acoustically in Tapioca Tundra, because one of the pieces I have when we get back, once we get done with the interviews with Coco, we go back to putting our little, and I'm sorry, I will openly apologize for the Daydream Believer 2000 remix. I'm sorry, I just thought I had to share it. It's one of those like a car wreck. You can't look at it, but you can't turn away from it. So, but coming up, we have a very special acoustic version of Tapioca Tundra by Nez that was done last year.
Can you give us any more information or hints or clues?
Sure. For those of you who know, last year, Nez's house was threatened in the Carmel area by wildfires. And the firefighters in California did a great job of finally getting it under control, minimizing the damage, especially to Nez's home. So in Carmel, they had a fundraising concert for the Firefighters Union. And Nez was there. He performed Ray's, did Maria's theme, and the original acoustic version of Tapioca Tundra. That's what you have to look forward to, kiddies.
Very cool. Very cool. Anyway, here's my remix for everyone to enjoy. It's from a few years ago. It melds many different versions, thanks to Rhino once again, of the song into one big, enjoyable,
bowlful,
pill-sized serving of Nez.
Monkees' big hit, Tapioca Tundra. ladies and gentlemen, Al Bigley's Tapioca Tundra remix of the Real Don Steel 96 KHJ. Join us again next time for another great remix on 96 KHJ with the fabulous Monkees. What will you get from Monkees? Catch my breath?
Yes, I should vamp now and do a little soft shoe as Alan catches his breath from that one big blast of nostalgic radio remembrance.
And since I introed the first part, I'll let you intro the second part. Talk about what's coming up.
Monkey boots inspired by the new heroes, the Monkees. Monkey boots, they open your eyes.
And since I blazed on about part one of the great interview we have coming up, I'll let you handle part two.
Thank you, my podcasting partner. As you know, we were gifted, we were blessed with the phone presence of Coco Dolenz for a recent podcast interview when we played part one in episode number 5 of this very podcast. There's still time to download it and hear it at your own convenience. So now we're going to go into part 2,
where we continue our discussion about growing up with Micky, the things that happened, and we also talk about her solo recording because Coco has a CD of uplifting tunes. It's called One World, and if you're good, boys and girls, sure, we just might even play one of those songs off that CD just for you, so you can hear what Coco sounds like on her own. Sure.
When you do that, you're like a weird mix of Robin Williams and Jim Nabors.
Golly! No, that's my Robin Williams does Fred Rogers.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay, I see now.
Shazam!
Say it again.
Shazam!
So let's go into part 2 of our interview with Coco Dolenz.
Of course, my dad, like I said, was a major gourmet, basically, and he had started in the Screen Actors Guild. He had started a gourmet cooking group kind of thing back in the 40s or something, and he had a lot of anyway. We had a lot of recipes that were just really fabulous, and I continue to work on it, and it'll come out at some point. But what's interesting is I have his book that was his. All of his clips, all of his, scrapbook of all of his, newspaper clippings and things and stuff. And there's a picture in there of him, serving everybody and all the people that were in the club, and they're making their food and they're serving everybody. And Noah Berry Jr., who ended up being Uncle Joey on Circus Boy, right? Mm-hmm. Noah Berry Jr. was one of the guests at this dinner that my dad and his other cohorts were preparing, and it was a big, news magazine splash thing, and there's Noah Berry Jr. And so he's feeding him, and it's part of this clip thing. And then, of course, years later, however many years it was, 10 years later, Noah Berry is, of course, Uncle Joey with Micky's Circus Boy. Mm-hmm. So kind of a connection there was kind of cool.
6 degrees of George Dolenz.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Talking about your family, there are 2 other Dolenz sisters that we don't really know that much about. And I don't want you to get in too deep about it, but introduce us a little bit and tell us about Deborah and Kathleen and the relationship you have with them.
They're not in show business. They just lead their own private lives, and there's, not enough. They don't like to be in the limelight, and there's not a lot to be said about them. My sister Deborah was in the corporate world for many years, managing in AR and stuff, and now lives in Scotland. I'm very happy. And my other sister Kathleen lives in Northern California, is married, and also lives a very private life, and they're very happy doing so.
That's cool. You are the most famous Dolenz sister, as we all know. But I appreciate you at least just giving us that little bit, because it's nice to know the whole family. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, but they've just never, my sister Deborah actually used to play the flute, and she actually sings, and she can sing, but it just wasn't her path. She was she was more involved in busting people that were stealing money from big corporations and things.
Very important.
She was involved in that whole kind of world, and it's just a different world.
Gotcha.
You never told me that Coco had siblings. Little joke.
I have 2 sisters.
Little joke.
Yeah. You have to forgive my partner. He comes up with these at the crazy. That's part of the allure of the podcast.
He uses the term allure very loosely too. Very loosely.
So
Okay.
now you've had to go through this twice with Micky. I want to go back to the circus boy, if I can get you to remember. Was it harder for you then, with Micky being circus boy, being the little kid sister, or when the mania hit in '66?
Harder in what respect?
Well, I mean, did you get a lot more? I know you got a lot more attention when the Monkees hit, but did you get? Were kids always coming up to you when they said, "Oh, yeah, you're Circus Boy's sister"? Wow, that kind of thing.
Not as much, because it was, the media and everything wasn't as strong then. The most you got then was, where's Bimbo? Oh, he's been asking about you too. And plus I went to a elementary school that it was a private school at the time that had many other kids that were also their family was in the business, because you remember, it's the the Los Angeles area, so I had other kids that were their family was in the business, so it wasn't a big deal. It's like, so what's the big deal? Yeah, you got a show next year? No, well, okay, whatever. So it wasn't quite as big a deal as the Monkees, because then I was like a teenager, and it was far more impacting.
Now, you said earlier, of course, your entire family sang, so you talked about the trips and you're driving in the cars. Did you do a lot of theater and that kind of thing, or did you sing in groups in high school?
I did choir and I did theater in high school, but I did more as I got older. There was a big stretch where I did some clubs and this and that. But actually, it's kind of funny. Not until about the end of the I went out with Micky. I did clubs during the 70s, and then at the end of the 70s, I went out with Micky and Davey when they asked me, "Would you like to go out on tour with us?" I went, "Yeah." You think? So we went out on tour and did some stuff, and then I moved back up north at the time. This is like 79, 80, and I did some theater up there, and that was where I did most of my theater work. And loved it. It was really wonderful. And then I didn't do it for a whole long time, and then I did some more. And that was kind of the extent of my theater work.
And when I know when you went out on the road with Micky and Davey in the late 70s, that was with the punk band backing you guys up, wasn't it?
They were called the Laughing Dogs. I don't know that they were a punk band, but they were a band from New York that they had found, and they were called the Laughing Dogs.
I guess I have to blame Eric Lefkowitz for this, because he was the one, if I remember right, in the Monkees tale that said they were a punk band. So
I don't know that to be true, because I don't know what punk band meant then. I don't remember them having safety pins in their ears or any of that. They were just musicians as far as I remembered.
Okay.
Maybe they were. I don't know. You'd have to ask Jimmy Cartwright. Yeah. I've actually communicated with a couple of them since then, and they're still musicians. So they were good. They were great guys.
Yeah.
They were very New York. I remember us being in Florida, and they would stay in their room with the blinds shut, and like we're out running around in the beach in the sun, and they're like inside, and it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, in other words, they were vampires. I got you.
Kinda, yeah. It was like, I guess it was New York or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice guy, so very talented.
Now, going into late 65, early 66, before the mania hit, when they're, did you and Micky talk about the show, what he really thought his expectations were, and what were your initial thoughts about this before everything exploded?
I think our basic thought was, oh, you got another show, cool. Because like I said, it was the family business. My father had a TV show. He had done movies. Micky had Circus Boy. He had done other TV shows. He had auditioned for this, and it was like, oh, you got a show, cool. Mm-hmm. But in Hollywood, it's like, you're only as good as your last show. So as far as we knew, it was just another show.
Okay.
And he has work. In Hollywood, it really is that. It's like, oh, you've got work. Cool. It's a show. You never know if it's going to go. You never know if it's going to go past pilot. You have no idea. Mm-hmm. So we had already moved up north. I believe our family had moved up north. And we were excited that he had work, and that he had got, hired for it. But nobody knew or could know what it would have entailed,
Do you remember when it first hit you to say, "Hey, wait a minute, this is something unique"?
When it first hit, you mean when the show first came out? Did you have a moment to say, "Hey, wait a minute, Micky, this is really big," or it surprised you that it was taking off? I think the memory I have, which is like really a long time ago, Al, come on, was when we went to the concert in San Francisco. So they started to tour, mm-hmm. and we went to the concert, and I think it was at the Cow Palace, mm-hmm. and it was mania. It was like Beatles mania, because I had been at the Beatles concert, I don't know what, a couple of years before, wherever it was down here, and it was crazy. And we had gone to our family had gone to their concert in San Francisco, and we were down by the stage on the side or something, and they came bounding out on stage, and the place went frickin', psychotic. And I think that's the memory that I have in my mind of like, oh my God, mm-hmm. This is different. This is huge.
And the rest is hysterical, as they say.
Yeah. No, the rest is history. And we were quickly, I think, cordoned backstage somewhere. And it was like, but that's the first memory, because of the TV show. You're sitting in your room watching the show, going, "Woohoo! Yay! Look at they're on TV!" Or listening to the songs on the radio. But seeing that response at Cow Palace, I think that was the first time that I think I really realized it was a phenomenon.
And we've heard that from others too, like Boyce and Hart said the first time they saw them live was when they knew things were really just crazy for the group.
Oh yeah,
it's those live concerts.
Well, absolutely. And the fact that after the live concerts, the mythology continued about, they don't play their own instruments and all that. That is mind-boggling, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. I have my own conspiracy theories about this, and Micky's touched about it because of the fact that they didn't have to quote-unquote pay their dues. Micky's brought up the fact that you had to pay the right people to get your music played, and here's a half-hour, basically the first half-hour infomercial for records and concerts. So
yeah, it's true.
It was truly unique. Now
it was absolutely, and it was the first time it was done.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to take the brunt of the. Oh my God, this is what are they doing? Have you seen the show Hamilton or heard about the show Hamilton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm addicted to the soundtrack. Same thing, somebody new comes along and everybody goes, whoa, wait a minute, what is this? So. But I think that was the first time that I really realized, and then after that, I was still in high school. So, people coming to our house and swarming our house. We didn't have fences around it, and looking in the windows and all that when he'd come up to visit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Well,
They
that brings
do
me
that.
to the next question, because
Okay.
based on the history that we know about with Nez and with Peter and with Davy, Micky was always the most grounded to me, because of the fact, and get your take on this. I think because of the fact that you guys were all there. Nez didn't have family there. Peter didn't have family there. Davy didn't have family there. Do you think that the family unit, being so close and being accessible to him, because it was always written or spoken about that your mom had a really big hand in keeping him grounded during this time and not letting him get to the point, especially like people would take Davy for money right and left, Peter giving everything away, and Nez doing. Do you think that had a lot to do with Micky keeping, for lack of a better term, grounded and not getting completely caught up in everybody and allowing people to take advantage of him like the others did?
Yes. And I also think it has to do with the fact that it was our family business. He had already been through Circus Boy. He had already been a child star, So to him, it was another business. It was like, oh, now I'm cast as Micky Dolenz. I'm cast as this. So yes, but I definitely do think that had to do with it. And I think that our family ethics and our family philosophy, especially after Circus Boy, had a lot to do with the fact that, realize that you are a commodity. You're only as good as the flavor of the month, and it's not who you are. And let's not get carried away with all the trappings. I think you're right. I think it had a great deal to do with it, of keeping people grounded in realizing who we really are and not getting caught up in falsities and thinking you're better than someone else because everybody knows you is bullshit. It just happens that everybody knows you. I get that a lot with me as well. It's like a lot of people know who I am, and so therefore I'm better than everyone. I don't think so. That's absurd.
Well, it's like
absolutely.
Davey at one point said, I guess when you become famous, you become more intelligent. You become more articulate. You become, I guess, more of a role model, which is,
Whether you become more intelligent or articulate is questionable. You do become
it's an illusion.
A
yeah, he says it's an illusion, but that's the illusion that people get because.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why I have always said that people in the limelight have a great responsibility, because people do hold them as something other than, right?
Absolutely.
And you have the responsibility to wow, I mean, people are looking at you and going, oh, what's important? What, so, and people that are in the limelight, I think, have a great responsibility to, be the best they possibly can. And some of them aren't. Some of them don't believe in the same ethics I do, or believe in the same thing.
That's honestly one thing I've noticed about you, with the way that you've carried yourself, the way that you are around people, the way that Micky has with the girls. He's raised 4 beautiful girls, 4 very good people, and that speaks to the family that you talked about, the family ethics and all that. So,
well, ethics is, I think,
a lot of people would be smart to pay heed to the way that the family dynamic plays into it, and if you want your kids to be better, you have to set the bar.
Well, absolutely. Monkey see, monkey do. Not to be flippant, but the truth is that we are examples for our kids and examples for everyone else. And if we don't pay attention to who we are and what we stand for, then people will do whatever.
Absolutely. Now,
I don't want. Yeah, that's like a whole other discussion, baby.
that's another story for another time.
Yeah, it's another story. Another story. But yeah, I do think my mom and my dad and my stepdad especially had a great deal to do with it of what's important. I've told my kids, as they were growing up, having compassion, having heart, having, being honest. These are the things that matter in the long run. And being honest and truthful and caring and all that, this is what matters. I don't care what else, but this is what matters. And if you can be successful and keep those things at the forefront, then yay, good for you.
Absolutely. Well spoken.
And Micky, people that have worked for him, he is generous to a fault. He is caring to a fault. Musicians that have worked with him over the years, and there's been many of them, they come and go because of the material and whatever. They all say, we want to be in his court because he's a gentleman and it's fun. It's family.
Absolutely. Now, along this thing, I want to get into this a little more serious zeitgeist, as Micky has said, before they lapse into no time, that kind of thing. So you can be real serious. I want to talk about these articles that you used to write for the teen magazines.
And the photo features.
And the photo features. Now, did you actually do that, or was it one of those things, hey, we're going to write this, we're going to give you this certain amount of money for putting your name on it?
No, I wrote them.
Did you have fun doing it?
Yeah, it was fun.
You remember the most unusual article you ever wrote, or the most unusual thing you wrote about?
No, I do not. Do you?
We blotted that out of our memories. Okay. Understand.
I do not.
There was one interesting feature that had you dressed up in in various fashions of the day, including a very Mickey-like poncho, which has been resurrected in the recent concerts.
No, that was my own poncho.
Okay.
I ended up giving it to a girlfriend. You remember it was the 60s, guys. We were dressing like that.
Oh, sure.
It was a woven wool kind of poncho. I loved that poncho.
Yeah.
And I think I ended up giving it to a friend of mine, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, those are the things that we wore.
Some of us are too young to remember that.
Yes,
hey.
You are.
Little joke.
Bite me, pal. I guess I must not have been there because, as Davey says, if you remember the 60s, you weren't really there. But yes, I was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, we went through the fashion stuff, and a lot of it, I wore a lot of very kind of indigenous, kind of comfortable. I still do. I'm not a great fashionista.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're a beautiful woman. You dress nicely. I'll openly say that.
Oh, thanks.
As things progressed, moving into the headquarters, I know that Micky would take you out on the road and you were a part of it, but headquarters was the first that I know of that you were involved vocally. We hear the great, She'll Be There and the original Midnight Train and some of the other things that you guys did. Talk about being in the studio with Micky as far as when you classify him as a songwriter. Me personally, I see a lot of stream of consciousness stuff. What's your opinion of your brother as a songwriter?
Yeah, he writes from his heart. He writes from personal experience. I always sang harmonies just because he was always the person writing the song and wouldn't sing the melody, so that's why I always learned how to do harmonies. But his songwriting, I think, was always, if you look at his body of work, always things that were near and dear to his heart. And he's never, I don't think, written anything that was just frivolous.
Well,
and we had great fun working on those things.
Mm-hmm. Well, Midnight Train is one of my, even though I prefer the Changes version, because I love the guitar work on that, because I'm a guitar. I love. That's why I said when we talked about Louis Shelton performing in Australia with you guys, I love that kind of guitar work.
Yeah.
But Let's see. Sorry, had a fanboy moment for a second. Oh yeah, I look at While I love Mommy and Daddy, I love Randy Scouse-Skit. I look at Never Enough from Justice, and the songs that he wrote for that CD, I look as those as some of his best songs, because knowing what he was going through at the time that those songs were written, that just you can hear the emotion in the lyrics and the way he sang them.
Right. Well, like I said, he sings from his heart, and hard to believe he got through them without crying, because he does. He writes from his heart and he sings from his heart. I know that when he did his thing at 54 Below last year, and he's going to be doing it again this year, I'm going to be doing it with him. And some of the songs, it's very difficult for him to get through without, breaking down, because he feels so deeply. He's had to learn to put a wall around to protect himself, quite honestly. But the truth is, he feels more deeply than most people.
Jumping ahead, were you, as his sister or somebody that had been in the eye of the hurricane in the original, were you surprised at the '86 re-explosion of it?
Was I surprised?
I mean, how big of a let me put how big of a surprise was it to you when it went from like a 6-week tour that Nez was going to be a part of on the weekends to 200 dates, 3 years, the third biggest grossing tour of 1986, and full-fledged Mania 2.0?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising. It was a bit surprising, but again, those guys are magical, and because I know of the body of work, and because I know how they are as when they are together and how they work together, part of me was like, I'm not surprised. Good is good. And when Micky and Davey worked together, when any of them worked together, I mean, there was a chemistry amongst these guys that Bob and Bert saw, right? And has never gone away. And whether they can work together now or what, who knows? But there was a chemistry, and it's always good when they're together. And like I said, they created such great memories for people that whenever they are together, it brings people back to that moment in time, and the chemistry happens again.
And I think that was one of the reasons why Good Times was so well received by the fans and the critics, and especially a lot of the peers. To see some of the, I saw something recently where Adam Schlesinger was talking about, or what? Al, help me out here. The guy that produced Good Time.
Adam Schlesinger.
The guy from or Andy Partridge, the guy from XTC. I'm sorry. Andy Partridge is saying that back in the '80s that he was a huge fan, and he was one.
Yeah.
I mean, to see that today is it's very gratifying to us as fans, and I guess it's vindication.
Yeah. Getting their due. Yeah. I mean, yes, they were thrown together. Yes, they were from different venues. Yes, they had different musical tastes. Yes, they were all musicians in their own right. And history has shown that they were all brilliant and wonderful and lasting, right? And no, they didn't write all their songs at the beginning, and no, they didn't start out as a garage band, but so what?
Absolutely.
So
it's
what?
not brain surgery.
Yeah. Well, no, and it was enjoyable, and it brings joy. And to me, it's like, what was his name? Oh God. Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. It's like, if something works and if something is enjoyable, go for it. And who should sit there and question, well, why is this enjoyable? Or why is it? It's just good, and it feels good, and it's a great combination. And I was talking to some friends a couple of days ago, I can't remember where, but about other TV shows and other groups that have done that, Friends, Cheers, different shows that other networks have tried to duplicate and have failed, miserably, because it wasn't the right chemistry, right? They've tried to reproduce Friends with different TV shows. I'm sorry, it wasn't that ensemble. And if there's another one that comes along, fine, or Cheers or Monkees or whoever. And it was just the right time, the right ensemble, the right people, and it just worked. And it's joyous and it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And so why do we keep on trying to whoa, why did it happen? Rah, rah. Who cares? It worked. And it was the right people at the right time. And we're still enjoying it. And I still have people coming to the show with tears in their eyes singing I'm a Believer.
And a thing of beauty is a joy forever.
Thank you.
I always think about that quote.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. And we want to think it to death, and like His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, you people there, you want to think things to death, think about, think with your heart.
And I always look back on it. There hasn't been an original idea in Hollywood since 1924, so.
I don't know. La La Land was kind of cool.
Now, since you have gone out with Micky numerous times over the last 20 or so years, is there anything that stands out in your mind as a really funny moment or a memory of any particular show or anything that stands out that makes you smile when you think about it?
Wow. Pause. Put it on pause. Oh, God.
I mean, I know there have been hundreds and hundreds of performances, but...
Yeah. You mean like a performance or a time or a moment? Or
as I explained, we think back to the Columbia Kids Show, and I look at watching you and Micky perform all these songs from Broadway Micky and Coco Dolenz Pushes You to Sleep. And I see the joy and the happiness in your eyes as you're singing these songs and connecting with the kids and just having a real good time. And that's what I see you two having together is always just a good time together.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. To pick out a particular, somebody asked me recently, what was the best time on tour since May up until Australia? You're asking me for one particular. That's I said, on what level? Are you talking venue? Are you talking moment on stage? Are you talking? There's so many levels that it's kind of hard to pick one thing. I mean, the Louis Shelton playing Clarksville with the Louis Shelton was amazing, right? All
right. Well, let me see if I can do. Is there a moment that you remember on stage between the two of you that absolutely just cracked you up?
Well, the most recent thing is we're singing something, and he comes up to me and he looks down and goes, "Oh, I like your shoes," which is kind of weird. I had on some like these little boots in the middle of the song, and I don't even remember what song it was. And he just looks down and goes, "Oh yeah, cool boots." I went, "Oh, okay."
And you go, what?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Or turning around and looking at us like, what song are we doing? There's that kind of silly stuff. Or looking around and looking at us and going, which verse are we on? I mean, there's silly stuff like that. But
so I see what it is. That's why he never sings the third verse of Going Down anymore, and he hasn't for 20 years.
Yeah. Or sometimes he'll turn around and he's singing something and he just looks at me like, wow, here we are. And I can just see it in his eyes that he's thinking about my mom.
Yeah.
Or he's thinking about our life, I think it happened in Austin when we were there because we played at the Paramount in Austin, and that's where my mother was from. And I think we both realized that, wow, here we are. And probably in the 30s or 40s, my mom had probably performed there or was sitting in the audience watching something. And, he turns around and kind of looks at me, and without even saying anything, I can just tell it's like one of those, wow.
Surreal moments.
Here we are. Yeah, that kind of thing. Whether he even knows it or whether it's, I don't know, but it seems like that. Where we're just like, wow, here we are. Oh my God.
That's amazing. I love that. Well,
yeah.
I mean, as people have heard me on the podcast ad nauseum because it is my favorite story, and that was just to take you back. You guys were performing on the kids stage in Columbia, and you were getting ready to do Three Little Fitties. You just done I'm Not Afraid, because I remember vividly you saying, I'm cold, but I'm not afraid. Because
it's a cold day.
It was one of those days. It was warmer in the first show, and then a cold front went through, and you guys weren't prepared for it. So that's why,
outdoor venue.
Yeah, it was an outdoor venue, and that's why the coolest thing. Coco Dolenz wore my Looney Tunes jacket, and I can't get any better than this. And then it did get better than this. Because Micky asked, and the second show, we didn't record the second show. The second show was even funnier. He says, anybody know who Ishka-Bibble is? And, of course, who's the only person in the audience that raises their hand? Because I didn't know who Ishka-Bibble was.
Oh, my gosh.
He says, nah, yeah, you would. You're one of those trivia weirdos, Alan. So it's like... And then come to the second show. He said, we're getting ready to do this. Anybody know who Ishka-Bibble is? Don't raise your hand, Alan. So it's like, but it was those are the moments that you carry with you forever, man. That's what I'm talking about with the connection that we talked about earlier that the guys have with the fans, and it's just amazing.
Well, the thing is that we're all people, and we're all on this planet together, and we're enjoying it together, and it's not us and them, is it? It's us.
No, we're all interconnected. We're all interdependent.
Absolutely. Which begs the question: how in the hell did you know who Ishka-Bibble was?
You want to hear the truth? I'm a firm believer in reincarnation, and I'm a firm believer that my last lifetime was during that. Because if you think about it, for anybody who doesn't know who Ishka-Bibble was, he was with the Kay Kaiser Orchestra back in the day. Yeah. But if you look at Jim Carrey's character in Dumb and Dumber, that is Ishka-Bibble, period. So, but yeah, he was a trumpet player and a singer for the Kay Kaiser band. But I'm a big old time radio fan, old westerns, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm a true old school.
It's like there's nothing new. It all just kind of comes around, doesn't it? Ishka-Bibble. He was a comedian, and he was what did he play? Cornet?
He played cornet, trumpet. Yeah. And and like I said, he had the bangs. He had the hick look.
Wow.
It was very funny.
Isn't that funny? It's like nothing's new. Everybody just kind of like cops on something else that was like earlier.
Build on
Ishka-Bibble down in the meadow.
It's a lot of building on things that went before.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you have it. So far, so good. I mean, the fact that we've made her laugh, I think, made her feel a lot more at ease. And some of the questions are a little bit off the wall, but she answered everything. Well, of course we are.
Most women, in my experience, only laugh when they can see me. In my experience, but this was interesting.
Yeah, they laugh hysterically when they see my mug. Like I say, I have a face for podcasting.
Yes, we both do.
Coming up, we will wrap up with part 3 next time. And we're going to wrap it up, talk about all the way up through Good Times and what Coco's got going on next. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that.
Once again, we want to thank Ken Mills, the Podfather. Check out his Monkees podcast, Zilch, if you don't already know about it. Thanks to the Monkees Live Almanac on the World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web?
The interwebs.
The interwebs.
The place the kids look at. They look at the Tweeter and the Twitter.
It's like, we turn into Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets sometimes.
I feel like them most times. I do.
Yeah, a mad shout out to the Monkees Live Almanac, because the more their stuff has been so helpful in guiding us when we need information. They are the Andrews, second only to Andrew Sandoval as far as information that you can glean about the guys.
I saw somebody recently thank them and gush over them. It's great. He takes these old magazines and Monkees articles and he scans them and he puts them up. I'm like, hello, I'm over here in the corner. I've been doing this since like 10 years ago.
He's talking about the Big Glee blog page on blogspot.com. Plug.
No, I really love his work and what he does, but some of us were doing it first. But there's room for many, obviously, in Monkees fandom, as we have seen.
So very true.
There's room for many. Now, do you want to do the boring disclaimer?
As always, the Texas Prairie Chicken Monkey. As always, the Texas Prairie Chicken Home Companion Monkees podcast is a podcast for entertainment purposes only, done to celebrate the Monkees for fans, by fans. Al Bigley and myself, Alan Williams, are not associated in any way, shape, or form with Michael Nesmith, Micky Dolenz, Peter Tork, the estate of the late David Jones, the Monkees in general, Rhino Records, Columbia, and a partridge in a pear tree, anything to do with the Monkees whatsoever.
However, Lester Crabtree and the Three Crabs, I'm distantly related to the wife of one of the Crabs' sister, her sister.
That's easy for you to say. Also, all materials used on this podcast are subject to copyrights of their current owners.
The respective owners, we are just fans yelling out to other fans, about fans, for fans.
Yo, what's up, fans?
And by fans. Mm-hmm. And like that.
That's easy for you to say.
I don't even know what I just said.
And that wraps up another laugh-filled episode. So until next time, this is Alan Lester Cram Williams.
And this is Al Philo Bigley. Thank you.
And as always, we remind you to save the Texas Prairie Chicken.
Yeah,